My heart! My heart from that game! Well done, the Crimson Academy, the Open Div team taking the victory over Twisted Vision in, I know it was only a show match, but that was one of the best games we've seen all year, especially that game number 3, a 4% core defense from Crimson Academy, getting them over the line. Twisted Vision rolled the dice on the back door when the Shrine phase came up, forced the reaction out of Crimson, and they just answered the call so well. 2-1 in a best-of-3 series. We couldn't ask for a more closer finish for that if we tried. My name is Kickbox. Thank you so much for being here, ladies and gents. And if you like that, strap yourselves down because we have got a treat for you. It is going to be We Left School for this. The team formerly known as We Met at Bunnings are going up against Impenetrable Hill. And I haven't seen much We Left School for this. I know you have, you Ish, but I love everybody on that lineup. They are characters in their own right. They play the game in their own sort of meta. They have a We Met at Bunnings meta. It must be said. They've carried that over to We Left School for this. And I cannot wait to see how they go against Impenetrable Hill, who have a bit to prove here. They finished second last in the Premier Division, so they definitely need to make a claim in this match.
Yeah, for sure. We left school for this. If anyone's been following competitive HotS in ANZ, that they've been here for years. I played against them in last year in the Open, and they've just kept getting stronger. They only, just like we said earlier, beginning of the broadcast, only just missed out on that premier spot. They played really well in that playoff series that we had at the start of Open Division, and I got accused a little bit by Knight towards the end of being a little bit of a fanboy of We Left School for this, but they were just proved week after week, faltered a little bit towards the end, but they could have been said that they knew they'd qualified, maybe just relaxed a little bit on the practicing, dropped a couple of games here and there, but just proved week in, week out why we've seen them for so long in the competitive scene, and really excited for their future and hope that they get the chance to, get that premier spot in the Crucible when we get that.
That's it. I mean, I can't wait for the Crucible. I mean, Crimson Academy, the way that they played, I mean, it's hard to discount that. I mean, Twisted Vision are a bomb team in their own rights. They are absolutely fantastic when they're on song. Granted, they might have been playing, not to their maximum potential, but Crimson Academy, especially in that last game, you just can't fault them. They leveled up from game 1 to game 2 to game 3. And the sheer improvements each time was absolutely phenomenal. But let's get into this one. We're going to go over to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 1 between We Left School for this and Impenetrable Hills. We get into the band phase, and this is my favorite map. You know why? Majors.
You love the majors.
Mm-hmm.
This map, we were talking a little bit off air. It generates, as a former tank player, Johanna sees a lot of play on Tomb of Spider Queen, who actually, I'm the opposite. You love your majors. I don't like Johanna. I find her terribly boring. But she is.
You don't like Johanna on the mage? What?
Nah, well, I don't. Diablo is a lot more fun. Garrosh, the playmaker mages. That Johanna just serves a different purpose. That's why I was a terrible tank player, and my open team never got very far because I should have played more Johanna. But anyway, we're seeing the Urel and an Asmodan ban, which is quite interesting. What do you think about that?
On Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's a very small map, and you can land a lot of those globes of annihilation. So I see it. Look, I don't mind it, but yeah, you can argue that Asmo, maybe a bit of a BM ban, but I doubt it. Tomb of the Spider Queen is probably one of the few maps that Asmo is probably viable, so I can see the logic in that. Malfurion is going to be the next ban. Again, he's actually sort of not faltered, but died off in the meta a little bit in recent times, but because Tomb is one of those maps where your entangling roots can cause your opponents so many issues, it's smart for We Left School for this to take that one off the board.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone expected Malfurion to die in a fire, not calling WoW out in any way, but with the removal of his ice block. And he still played a little bit, but I think with the emergence of Whitemane and her strength, has really seen Whitemane and Deckard kind of just take over those couple of roles. And even like we saw in that last series, Alex Straza quite a bit. So interesting to see a Malfurion ban, but we'll see how it plays out, whether they choke out that. Well, they're not going to choke out, are they? Because they've already picked their Deckard. So
Yeah, I do need to make a correction as well. I did say that Impenetrable Hill finished second last. That is a lie. They finished third last. Plepta Pro and Reality were the bottom two teams, so we'll tick that one off. But Whiteman, Kael'thas, and Varian, regardless, they still have a lot to prove coming into this game. So with a they ended up on 4 and 10. That is not a very good standing. So they survived the Crucible, but they still have a lot to prove. I mean, especially given that Crimson Academy, the Open Div team, showed us just what your boys can actually do. There is so much talent in Open Div, and now we left school for this looking to replicate those effects.
Yeah, most definitely. And Stitches to Haka, we've got we got a Kalthar, so we've got your Dream, we've got a Mage, and a Varian. Now that I'm not sure. Is that something we've seen in Premier? It's certainly, I don't think, anything we've seen in Open.
I think we've seen Varian once or twice in the Premier Division. More favoured for... Usually they pick him for the Colossus Smash, but that was only very, very rare. At this point, they still do need... Okay, it looks like Varian's actually going to be playing the tank here for the blue team. So as a solo with Zagara and Tracer, I can hear our producer Blank cackling in the background because being a self-touted Zagara main, this lineup is extremely squishy on the side on the blue team here. So if they can prioritize their targets, I think Impenetrable Hill just may be able to come out here. Look at that draft: Decade, Phoenix, Stitches, Dahaka. That's beastly.
Yeah, I'm really worried for those hooks. Apart from maybe Tracer with her blink away, Tana is a god on that Stitches. If he can land those hooks on almost anyone else, they're going to have to be incredible. It's very, very squishy. You're not wrong.
So it is actually going to be Impenetrable Hill on blue. We left school for this on Team Red. I'm excited to see Helium, who was a player that actually surprised me a lot before this current year of HotS. We saw quite a bit of this team, and we know what they can do. They have their own meta, so to speak. They play the game on their terms like no other team does. It's very, very unique, and hopefully they can show that to all the viewers out here tonight. We had, 80 viewers turn out for the Crimson Academy versus Twisted Vision match, which is phenomenal considering that this is only a show match. So let's see what We Left School for This can do, representing the Open Division, going up against Impenetrable Hill on the blue team here on my favorite map, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Gul'dan is going to be locked in as the last one by Tagiza, which I really, really like. Kael'thas as well for Impenetrable Hill. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for this. On Team Blue, it is Impenetrable Hill. That is Crazo on the Zagara, Spazzo on Varian, Pat is on Kael'thas, AT is on Kael'thas, Koality is on Whitemane, and Hill on Tracer.
And on the red, Nose Open Division, Tana on the Stitches, Ulgi on his Dahaka, Jester on his Phoenix, Helium on Decade, and Giza on that Gul'dan, like you said. So I'm excited. Like you said, they have they play that Stitches incredibly well. Watch for those hooks. He's deadly. That's all I.
Oh, yes, as we get into the game, it is going to be the bust up in the mid lane. Both teams just sizing each other up for now. Zagara going down into the bottom lane, just setting up a few creep tumors. So it is going to be 4v5 in the mid lane for now. Hill being cheeky. All the hooks splitting the middle of Impenetrable Hill. And now you can see Tagiza getting that drain life across on Hill. Just going to have a quick look at the talents. It does seem to be Echoed Corruption for Gul'dan. Tana actually opting for the Dampen Magic as well, considering that there's a lot of ability damage on the side of We Left School for this. That is a smart choice.
Yeah, it's something a little bit different, and it's always good to see a team adapt to another draft. So, those little differences, that's the advantage of something like Heroes of the Storm we have with those talents. It's like the Heroes team would love it to see that talent diversity. So, hopefully it pans out for him.
Well, that's it. I mean, you don't like seeing the same old builds, the same old talents every single time, day in, day out. So Dampen Magic, reactive play, like you said, adaptability is important, especially if you want to go into the Premier Division where the teams are just able to turn their gameplay on a dime, build or not. They know what they're about. But down the bottom, it looks like Crazo is just taking it to All G. who is very, very low. Just needs to be careful not to get taken down there. We'll keep it one weather eye on that one. Spazzo now spots Jester, and he's going to call AT, and there goes the gravity lapse as well as the flame strike, but the minions are there just to soak up the lapse and allow Jester to safely warp away. Now, the EXP extremely even at this point in time. 1 minute and 46 seconds have ticked across. LG, again, down in that bottom lane, taking tons of damage.
Yeah, Krazo doing a good job on Zagara. She's just got that range pressure she can keep on Dahaka. She can just keep him at baneling length, and it's gonna be a bit of a battle uphill for him down there. And smartly moving back as Hill coming down looking for that little cheeky gank, but he was smart enough to get back to the safety of his towers.
AT just seeing Tanner waiting in the winds with those hooks, jukes slightly to the left, and that's all you need to dodge a Stitch's hook. Because, if your KO fast gets hooked, he's pretty much going to die, because just the damage following that up is monstrous on the side of We Left School for this. He's even Helium with those Scrolls of Sealing, with those Heradric Jukes being cheeky. Spazzo at level 4, gotta love new variant, is going to get the taunt off onto Tanner. Scroll of Sealing coming across from Deckard Cain. But the disengage is good to Giza, just stacking up that Echoed Corruption. He's at level 12. Kael'thas AT actually has picked Convection here, currently at 7 sacks, so keep an eye on that one. They'll be looking to prioritize that as their #1 kill target is We Left School for this.
Yeah, that's like just painting a big target on the back of your head saying, come and get me, come and get me. So they'll have to do a fantastic job of keeping AT safe, especially from those hooks.
Just over 3 minutes have ticked across as a level 7 talent is looming. You would expect Impenetrable Hill, given their current lead, ever so slight as it is, to hit that one first, and they'll be looking to get the engage. And Tanner actually hooks Spazzo. Down comes a Scroll of Sealing, but Quality just doing lots of damage, and that will be the first kill of the game, going over to Impenetrable Hill. They take We Left School for this and send Phoenix back to the bench just to lick his wounds. Tanner currently sitting on 25 gems. He'll need to turn those in pretty quickly before he decides to get off a few cheeky hooks, but Impenetrable Hill are very good at seeing, at map rotating here, rather. They're actually going to spot Tanner yet again. Spazzo decides to charge in, gets the taunt off, and then positions himself very well in terms of preventing Tanner's escape there, utilizing his big metal as you do as Varian, just to prevent any sort of retreat. But level 7, like we talked about, you wish, going to be hit by Impenetrable Hill first, and they'll be looking to get the drop-off onto We Left School for this.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of a backwards and forwards. The advantage of Varian is that taunt is on an incredibly short cooldown compared to other heroic type abilities. So he's just keeping that pressure on, making sure, We Left School for this is just having to not play too aggressively, just play carefully. Or he'll just, dives in, does what Chaser does, takes some damage here and there. Doing a good job of just keeping them at, keeping them at arm's length, keeping kind of making We Left School for this react to what they're doing as opposed to the other way around.
Yep, White Man going for the Inquisition build as well. Now AT in the bottom lane actually gets hooked out, forces the gravity lapse onto Tanner, who's going to draw very, very close to dropping 28 gems all over the floor, and he does! That will just allow Giza to pick them back up, as with the support of Helium, of course, but that is a big, big kill, allowing Impenetrable Hill to extend that lead. They get the Harker as well in the bottom lane. Thanks for coming. And Impenetrable Hill, they're going to get the turn in, get these Web Weavers pushing down all 3 lanes. Quality with that Inquisition keeping everybody alive. And this is looking very, very good for Impenetrable Hill to start things off. Yes, it is only 5.5 minutes into the game, but that is a rather quick Web Weaver.
Yeah, they did that fantastically well with that turnaround onto that Stitches and then onto that Dahaka as well. Zagara doing a fantastic job of just keeping Dahaka back at his wall, not being able to put any pressure in that bottom lane, and resulted in that nice quick rotation and then that kill, which then resulted in these Web Weavers.
Yeah, so Giza on the Gul'dan is set to wave clear duty. That top lane is his baby at the moment. Meanwhile, the rest of We Left School for this, apart from Dahaka in the bottom lane, of course, will turn their attention to mid lane, because that is where the fight is breaking out. Impenetrable Hill looking to boogie on down, but they will not find anybody. It is still a 3-kill advantage their way. We Left School for this currently, well, now they are full level behind, as that is a very good push down in the bottom. Great rotation coming out from Impenetrable Hill. Now Tanner is in a bad position. Spazzo is just body blocking him for days. He can't get around, and he's going to go down. Spazzo, pixel perfect positioning there, preventing the escape from Tanner. That goes, we'll see you later, Stitches. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. Zagara gets taken down, so well done in the mid lane by Tagiza to get the first kill on the board for We Left School for this, but level 10 being hit by Impenetrable Hill, this is where We Left School for this really need to play passively and get the soak on.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they've really started to fall behind in those gems as well. There's a couple of kills. You know, Giza did a good job picking up when Tanner dropped those 25 on the Stitches early on, but they've just dropped just a couple. Not enough for a turn now, but when you're looking, it's not going to take long for Hill to have that second turn in. Just a couple more waves, so they're going to have to, you know, try and get this 10 quickly and apply some pressure. They're just gonna snuff the game out of contention.
Well, there was a lot of creep around the place, but LG with the essence, or the swarm on Dahaka rather, is just making short work of that. So now that level 10's been hit, the Nidus networks are sort of coming into play. One positioned up the top, and of course one position in the fountain, and that will be a hard camp going over to the way of We Left School for this. Impenetrable Hill just a little bit slow in answering back, but they'll get there nevertheless. 33 gems until they get yet another turn in, but We Left School for this has got 66 just sitting in their wallet at this point in time, but turning it in seems to be the issue here. Considering all the gems are on Tagiza, the Gul'dan, probably the most squishy target, that's something that they just need to keep in mind and, you know, be mindful of. Now they're going to go in for the turn. Tanner, being very, very good on that front line, will allow his squishies to turn that one in, and that's going to be a Web Weaver phase. Over to We Left School for this. Well done to Tanner there for creating a safe space for his squishies.
Yeah, he did a good job. I was a little bit worried. Spazzo did a nice job diving onto the Jester and getting that taunt on him, but thankfully for Jester's sake, there was kind of no follow-up. He just had to back out again. But they got the turn in, so they've got those gems. Yeah, the waves aren't necessarily pushed too far in, so hopefully they can get a little bit of value. They're only about a level behind. If they can get some towers down, they can creep back closer to experience, not be too far behind Impenetrable Hill, pushing into 13.
Oh, Decade again with that Sapphire Heraldric Cube. That is a fantastic Horrify coming out from Tagiza, as well as Whitemane throwing down the Divine Reckoning, but no kills just yet. Lornado being picked up by Decade Kane. They trade up kills. They get Kael'thas with the Convection as well. Pulse Bomb onto Helium, who was just trying to stay alive, but the taunt will prevent him from throwing out any more of those potions, and that is a 3. Oh, wow. Triple stacker coming out across from the Impenetrable Hill, and it was Hill himself getting those 3 on the board as Trey, so they extend their EXP lead ever so slightly. We Left School for this were just clawing their ways back into that with that Web Weaver phase, but Impenetrable Hill with 3 quick ones just even up the playing field.
Yeah, they managed to get AT. I hadn't seen, the last time I checked he was on 12 stacks of Convection. I'm sure he was probably a lot closer to completing that then, so they can take that. At least they got him down, reset that quest. But yeah, losing 3, they didn't really get that value that they needed to get from that Web Weavers phase. And now they're looking at Blue Web Weavers phase, setting up at the bottom of Impenetrable Hill. They're going to be looking to get this keep wall if they can get this kill on All G first.
LG taking lots of damage, and that's just another stack of Convention for Kael'thas. He says, thank you very much. The drag actually coming out here. He's going to get away, is LG, with the help of his Swarm and his Essence charges, keeping him alive. Good Phoenix from the Kael'thas. That's AT, and it will be a... Well, I was going to say, it pushes everybody from We Left School for this back, but they had their eyes firmly set on onto the Varian. They get that kill, and now they've lost the Gara before that fight as well. So with only 3 members on the board, Impenetrable Hill, they have got a Web Weaver phase going their way, as well as a fortification as well. So it's not all sour grapes. They trade the kills for the objective, for the fortifications, and that's not all sour grapes, you wish.
No, yeah, they still got some value. He'll rotate it up quickly, help that Web Weaver get that fort in the top lane, keeping that, you know, just over a slight level experience lead. But, you know, We Left School for this, they're fighting back. They're winning these fights, so they can get these picks. That's the easiest way to start getting themselves back into the game. So, still putting up a fight, seeing what they can do.
In terms of Mage Wars, you've got Giza, who has hit that Echoed Corruption. Meanwhile, we did mention earlier, that AT did lose his stacks of convection, so he is going to have to start yet again. He's only on 3 at this point in time. Throws out the Phoenix, preventing the rest of We Left School for this from defending that fortification, and now they've taken all 3 level 1 forts away from We Left School for this. And all of a sudden, they continue to apply pressure here. The next Web Weaver phase is looming. It may go the way of We Left School for this, pending a big fight from Impenetrable Hill, but a cheeky turn-in could really turn the tide here for We Left School.
Yeah, most definitely. And they've got a little bit of time before they have to worry about Impenetrable Hill getting a turn-in, which is probably a good idea as they're coming around to 16. They're going to want to do something quickly. If they could get it now, but if they get it and then Impenetrable Hill get their 16, they're going to basically just throw 55 gems into the wind. But we'll just have to see what they can do. Maybe they'll just soak it and hold it out for a little bit.
Algeny could easily brush Stalk up into the top lane here, but he's actually going to catch out Hill, but Tracer's got that recall just sitting back there. And doesn't matter how many opponents are looking at you in the face with bloodlust in their eyes, all you have to do is pop that recall. Thanks for coming, and I'll run away with most of my HP, says the Tracer. But LG, 39 gems, needs to turn them in pretty quickly if We Left School for this to get themselves the next Web Weaver phase, because Impenetrable Hill are just able to farm that one up. You've got that lane pressure from Zagara causing all sorts of problems. Tornado comes out from Helium, a complete whiff in the end, as well as the Scroll of Sealing. Alas, level 16 to 15, and Impenetrable Hill, they've got the advantage here at the moment. They are very, very close to another phase. I don't think a couple more gems will do it for them. We Left School for this have got the bank that they need. They just can't get there to make a deposit.
No, and it's really hard to go into Impenetrable Hill. Now, with that 16, that talent advantage that they've got they've delayed it a little bit, and they're just struggling to get that. They can't really push these lanes out and keep them out long enough to get that turn in. So if they're not careful, they're going to be staring down another turn in. There's only 2 turn-ins in a row for Impenetrable Hill.
Yeah, they've got the gems too, and they've got the positioning. I mean, We Left School for this, just tunnel visioning their kills here at the moment, and Krazo now just stands on top of the Echoed Corruption. Lots of damage. In comes Jester with the Purification Salvo. It collects 4 and cleans up Tracer, so they trade kills. It's now 4 on 4. They lose cooldown, but pick up Tracer. Spazzo cops the Inquisition healing coming out from Whitemane, and that is really all that you need at the moment. AT is going to turn in these gems, and once again, Impenetrable Hill. Whew, that's the second Web Weaver phase in a row. That's their 3rd one for the game. And that is looking pretty nasty for We Left School for this.
Yeah, they're just... We Left School for this just seem to be struggling just a little bit in this team fight. They're just not been able to... they got that Tracer really, really quickly, but they couldn't... But upon losing the Gul'dan, they just didn't provide any more pressure and any more kill pressure on the rest of Impenetrable Hill. And, they just, going 1 for 1, you say they didn't necessarily lose that team fight, but they didn't really win it either. So you got to win to win the game. So they've got to do something before they start losing these keeps.
That's it. There's only so much damage that you can take, only so many blows that you can absorb before the pressure just gets to you. And as this game goes on, those timers will be getting longer. And the zoning Phoenix that keep coming out here from AT, he realizes that Convection is just not working for him at the moment, so he does what he does best, and that just creates a safe space for the rest of Impenetrable Hill to get in there. That is going to be a Purification Salvo. It collects 4 members of Impenetrable Hill, and the Scroll of Sealing is going to lock down the Variant into the Horrify. Spazzo, he's got the heals, but is there enough numbers? No, there's not, because Whitemane gets taken down, and Tanner from downtown with a long-range hook, utilizing that level 16 talent fishing hook, gets the kill, gets another one for We Left School for this, and they are back in the game.
That was what they needed to do. They needed to win that to, get them back. Hill's going to try and push pressure this keep, but they're going to push. They're getting ready for that boss as soon as that Web Weaver goes down. We Left School for this, going to get that pressure in the top lane, get that structure experience. They've lost that keep at bottom, unfortunately. Oh. So Hill and Krazo, they're providing this pressure. Orgy's not going to be able to do much into this Tracer and a Zagara at bottom. So hopefully We Left School for this get this boss really quickly. They need to get back and respond.
They've got LG down there with 67 gems in his back pocket. That's all they need. The rest of We Left School for this are going to turn their attention to that boss and going to get this top lane pressure just pouring down the throats of Impenetrable Hill. That's so smart play from them in the end, but level 19 has just been hit. We Left School for this still 2 levels behind, but are slowly but surely clawing it back. Remember, we touched on how long the timers extend themselves out as the game goes on. And that is really going to cause Impenetrable Hill problems here. They are so squishy, barring the Variant, of course. And We Left School for this. Their eyes just light up like dinner plates. You've got Gul'dan, Phoenix, with the help of Stitches, getting the engage off. A big Horrify collects 2, forcing out the recall from Tracer. The Salvo will only collect 2, so not as impactful as you would have hoped. Tanner, hooks the Mutalisk of all things there. But this boss will go down. They're going to take the small fountain away from Impenetrable Hill, but the Web Weavers are what is going to be causing them problems at the moment. Lornado now comes out, tries to create a little bit of a zone. Oh, Hill gets caught by Tanner's hook, and in goes Spazzo. This time, getting the taunt off, but regardless, no follow-up, no kills. A little bit anticlimactic there, as Tanner did blow the Putrid Vial in order to retreat there. Level 19 now both being hit, and We Left School for this have clawed themselves back into this. Oh, Tanner! He's hunting you, Wish.
He is. They did a fantastic job. That getting the boss into the Web Weaver phase. They've got enough gems, just on all G side to get another turn in straight away. They've managed to crawl back there. Level with experience now. We've hit level 20 at the same time. They're going to have to worry about that bottom lane. Sagara, she's got her Nidus down in that bottom corner, so she's going to be able to push that bottom lane out nice and easily for Impenetrable Hill. But We Left School is a fantastic fight. They turned it around. They really pushed their advantage. They did a good job realizing what the best thing that they could do with getting that triple kill. And now it's just a matter of seeing what they decide to do next.
The rotation now coming out. They do have enough gems for another turn. Impenetrable Hill do not, and now you can see the way that Impenetrable Hill are playing. It's extremely reactively. They're in 2, maybe even 3 minds about what they want to do here. Both teams hitting level 20. They realize that EXP is, basically moot at this point, but they're just guarding. They're playing Gatekeeper on these turn-in points, which is probably the best thing they can do at the moment.
Yeah, getting that vision from Zagara, it really gives Impenetrable Hill that advantage at this point with getting her creep everywhere. They've got just perfect sight of both of these turn-ins. They can rotate to wherever they need to be to stop that turn-in.
That's right. There's not much creep going down in the bottom lane because, like we touched on before, Dahaka and the rest of his cronies made pretty short work of that. Regardless, there is another Nidus Worm available, but having a look at the sheer coverage at the moment, there are a lot of points where Zagara could throw those out, and We Left School for this as they try to aggress the top turn-in point. Impenetrable Hill, like you mentioned, Wish, are very, very switched on when it comes to spotting the rotations. All they need to do is wait. Both teams at level 20. We Left School for this need to come to Impenetrable Hill, and this next team fight will be the teller, the deciding point of this game, I reckon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It feels like we're kind of on a knife's edge. Getting that hook onto Spazzo. It's of all of the team that you want to hook on Impenetrable Hill, Varian is probably is definitely the last one. But it's just once we get this engage, if either team decides to fully engage, it's probably what's going to decide how this game goes.
Kalitas at 12 stacks of convection now as well. Make that 13 as they get the kill onto Phoenix. The Phoenix goes out as... Phoenix. Why not? Tagiza now taking a lot of damage, and he gets taken down as well. So 2 quick kills on the side of Impenetrable Hill. They played that one to perfection. LG with 88 gems has got a Tracer stuck to him like glue. The helping hand from Tanner from the back seats was going to keep him alive, and I think Tanner was more concerned about the 88 gems there than LG's terrible positioning. Tanner is just going to survive that one. He throws out another hook, it whiffs, and now Impenetrable Hill start knocking on the door of the core.
Yeah, both the DPS down on We Left School for this side. They're going to struggle to hit this defense. The pressure that Sakara is going to put onto this core, she's going to go down pretty quickly.
Oh, Lornado comes out, but LG has just dropped 88 gems all over the floor, and that will be Impenetrable Hill picking up game number 1. He hit the floor harder than Skimmy on a Saturday night at the clubs, and that was phenomenal play there from them. They take game number 1. We left school for this. Was not crisp at all. It must be said there was a lot of chinks in their a lot of kinks in their armor, chinks in their armor, call it what you will. They just really struggled there, and Impenetrable Hill were able to spot those weak points and just capitalize. It's 13-8 in terms of kills, and I feel as though the inability to turn in gems there for We Left School for this kind of cost them a bit, but you can't take anything away from Impenetrable Hill. They played it well. They knew that their opponent had to come to them. Just have a quick look at the stats here. Tegiza on Gul'dan, 167,500 siege damage and almost 59,000 hero damage. So carrying We Left School for this on his little fell-made shoulders, and then having a quick look over at Impenetrable Hill. The siege damage, of course, going the way of Kael'thas, 217,000 damage, and the hero damage was pretty well split, actually. Tracer at 64k, AT at 61k, even Zagara getting in on the action at 54k. So well done, Impenetrable Hill. They take game number 1. It was Tomb of the Spider Queen. Remember, these are all best of 3 series, ladies and gentlemen, and if the first series was anything to go by, you are in for one hell of a treat. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very shortly with more Heroes of the Storm action right after this.